Hiring in the real estate industry is extremely competitive right now, and with your resume really being the first look that an employer sees when evaluating you for a potential role, there is a very limited opportunity for job applicants to make a good first impression when their resume hits HR or a hiring manager's desk. And through running the Break Into CRE Academy platform for the past few years, I've been able to see a lot of data points through reviewing member resumes, and there are some pretty common pitfalls that people tend to get tripped up with when putting their professional experience and education on paper. So in this video, what I wanted to do is walk through a few specific things that I commonly see on resumes that I'd recommend taking off if you have them already, and what to add in their place. With the unemployment rate spiking to almost 15% in the spring of 2020 and leveling out at the end of last year at almost double the December 2019 figures, the pool of applicants in almost every industry is as competitive as it's been in over a decade, and with an average of 250 resumes submitted for each corporate job posting, according to Glassdoor, presenting yourself as the best candidate for the role you're applying for in the most concise, efficient way possible is more important than ever today. So in this video, instead of the traditional advice around things to add to your resume, what we're going to do is walk through 4 things that I'd recommend taking off of your resume that could actually be hurting your chances of landing interviews in the first place, and what to add to your resume in place of those things. So point number 1 on this list, and the thing I tend to see most often on Break Into CRE Academy member resumes, is a statement or bullet point around general proficiency in Microsoft Office. In most cases, adding bullet points about your basic ability to use programs like Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint is really just wasted space on a resume, because these are skill sets that are assumed to be a given when you're applying for a real estate analyst or associate role. In most cases, basic proficiency isn't what companies are looking for, and they're specifically seeking out those candidates that have advanced skill sets in these programs, specifically Microsoft Excel. And the best way for you to communicate that you do have these skill sets is not to write them in generic bullet point fashion, but to actually demonstrate these skill sets with your on-the-job experiences that you've had in the past where you've used these programs successfully. So in a real estate context, this could mean replacing those generic Microsoft Office bullet points with a new bullet point around your work experience, specifically walking through a complex project that you completed that requires an advanced knowledge of Microsoft Excel, or projects or responsibilities where you were tasked with using PowerPoint to create and run presentations for investors or clients. Anyone can write proficient in Microsoft Office on their resume, but it's another thing to actually demonstrate those skills with an example from previous work experience. And if you just have proficient in Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint on your resume, I definitely recommend taking that off and replacing this with specific projects you completed using Excel, PowerPoint, or both. So once you've cleaned up any generic Microsoft Office language in your resume, the next step is to move on to your skills section. And in your skills section, the next thing I'd recommend taking off, if it's on there right now, is any work-related skill that is not directly related to the position you're applying for. So while it's great to have hobbies or side projects, telling an employer that you are an advanced user of something like Adobe Photoshop, or you can run a Shopify store, or you're proficient in something like HTML and CSS isn't going to paint the picture for an employer that you can analyze real estate deals and build pro formas, and this can actually hurt you more than it can help. Right now, companies are looking for both people who can come in from day one and perform, but also people who know what they want from a career perspective and are committed to the real estate industry. And the more unrelated skills and abilities that you highlight that are related to other careers, the more unsure you appear about your future in the real estate industry as a whole, and specifically within this company that you're applying for. So instead of adding a laundry list of unrelated skill sets and abilities, try replacing these bullet points with specific skill sets you have that directly relate to the position you're applying for. For most real estate analysts and associate roles, this is going to be your skill set in real estate financial modeling, real estate pro forma modeling, real estate development modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and your experience with Argus if you're applying for office, retail, or industrial roles. The goal of the resume is not to dump everything you've ever done on paper, but to demonstrate to your employer the professional that you are and why you are the right fit for the job and the skills you have to demonstrate that. Now, once you have your generic Microsoft Office proficiency and your unrelated skill sets off of your resume, the next step is to move to your education section. And within your education section, the next thing I'd recommend removing from your resume in almost all cases is going to be your GPA. Now, this is a tricky one because this can really hurt you on both sides of the spectrum. If your GPA is low, this might cause an employer to make an incorrect assumption about either your intelligence levels or your work ethic, neither of which is something that you want. But if your GPA is high and you're more than just a few years out of school, this could lead an employer to believe that you're still hanging your hat on your college academic performance, and maybe that hasn't translated to real life success in the working world. The only times I'd really recommend adding your GPA to your resume is if that number is around 3.7 or higher, and you're also either just graduating school or you're only about 1 to 3 years into your career in your first job out of college. Instead of your GPA, a more impactful point to add under your education section is to add any sort of leadership roles you had or an organization that you were involved in directly related to the real estate industry. So if you held a leadership role within your school's real estate or finance association, or you competed in a case study competition that required some sort of an analysis on a live real estate acquisition or development project, or even if you held a leadership role in an organization that shows your ability to manage a team, these are all going to be more beneficial points than just adding your grade point average on your resume. Again, the goal here is not to show how smart you are, but how well you can do the job that the company needs help with today. And these real life practical experiences will tell this story much more clearly than the grades you got on your purely academic coursework. And finally, once you've removed your generic Microsoft Office proficiencies, your unrelated skill sets, and your GPA, the final things I'd recommend taking off of your resume right now are any buzzwords that you're using to describe yourself, specifically generic traits and characteristics. So while employers might be looking for candidates who have a strong attention to detail or ability to work under tight deadlines, they're looking for people who can actually prove that on their resume through their experiences and not just someone who can type that out on a resume. Any bullet points along the lines of hardworking, team player, strong communication skills, or anything else that doesn't directly relate to a hard skill set you have should really be removed from your resume, and instead, similar to the point on Microsoft Office mentioned earlier on in this video, these should be replaced with on-the-job examples of how you've actually exemplified those characteristics. So if you led or managed a team, you completed a significant project under a tight deadline, or you made presentations to investors or stakeholders for important projects, these are going to be the things that actually get the attention of that employer to let them know that you have these characteristics rather than just telling them. Again, remember that the goal of the resume is to communicate as efficiently and effectively as you can that you are the clear fit for the role that you're applying for, and the more you can do to clean up your generic language and instead replace that with specific experiences that you've had that can show that employer directly that you have those characteristics, the better your chances are of making it past that application phase and onto the interview round. So overall, those are the main things that I'd recommend taking off of your resume if you have them already. And if you're preparing to send off resumes this year and want some additional training on what should and shouldn't be on your resume, what that format should look like, and how you can tailor your specific situation to land the kind of roles that you're looking for. As always, make sure to check out Break Into CRE Academy, which includes video coursework on how to position yourself to land the real estate jobs you want, resume templates that you can follow and adapt to your own specific situation, and you'll also have direct access to me to ask questions around your unique real estate career scenario. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video and want to see more content on real estate careers, make sure to let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to make sure you don't miss any new videos as soon as they're released. If you're heading into the application process, good luck. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.